switch.
Welcome to Oilers Nation Everyday with your hosts, Tyler and Liam.
The Edmonton Oilers are the only team in the Pacific Division with a plus in goal differential. Let's get into it with the lead. Welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday. That is maybe the craziest start in the NHL right now is that everybody in the Pacific Division besides the Edmonton Oilers has a negative goal differential. The Edmonton Oilers at +5, Vegas second best at -1, Anaheim -4, an immediate drop off to -17 from the Seattle Kraken. For those curious, the Vancouver Canucks, -84. Welcome into Oilers Nation Every Day, where the show is a presentation of Bet365. Hockey fans, check out the Bet365 3-goal payout. When your team goes up 3 goals, you get paid. It's as simple as that. Download the app today. Must be 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Obviously, that is not Tyler Yaremchuk. That is Zach Laing. Welcome to the show, Zach. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, we had to do some adjustments here. I'm a little bit taller than Tyler is, at least in this chair. So we had to ramp that up, and I'm still getting my mic set up. I'm trying to figure everything out here. I've got these headphones that I'm trying to sort out as well. I think I finally got to figure it out. Though, so,
Yeah.
A little bit of a rocky start here, but yeah, pretty good mood today, though, nonetheless.
Yeah, you were saying you heard the song Believer.
Oh, yeah. I was running a couple of quick errands before I came into HQ today, and in one of the stores, they were playing I'm a Believer, noted great song from the Shrek soundtrack.
Of course.
Got that on compact disc back in my parents' place, and now I want to watch the Shrek movie.
Well, honestly, we talked about it briefly. The soundtrack for Shrek, unbeatable.
Unbelievably good.
There's very few that really back that up.
Yeah.
That are non-musicals, of course. Of course, High School Musical, one of the greatest. But that's besides the point. Also, welcome into the Sports Closet Studio. Visit them at their 3 locations, St. Albert Center, Sherwood Park Mall, and Kingsway Mall. Hey, maybe you want to go buy a new Evan Bouchard jersey. The Bouch Bomb shows up again for the Edmonton Oilers as they come away 4-3 winners in what was a massive game for them in Vegas. And they've done really well against the Vegas Golden Knights over this past, I think they said 10 games. Maybe it's not quite that long. But it seems like the Oilers really have a step ahead of Vegas, including the playoffs. But yeah, really good win for Edmonton last night, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. I was doing pre-gaming last night with Menzies, and we were talking about this. You know, the Oilers already were up 2-0 in the season series against Vegas, right? So coming in and securing a third win here, I think is absolutely huge for this team. It puts them in a really good spot, at least in the head-to-head with the Golden Knights here. And now it's going to be up to the Oilers to kind of continue to play the way that they've been playing. I think 6 wins in their last 10 games played, 13 points over that stretch as well. So they're starting to kind of turn it on here, which is a really good sign. Yeah,
6-3-1 in their last 10, but now they have the dreaded task of trying to win a third game in a row, which I don't get it. Like Tyler asked, someone asked us, maybe it was Tyler asked me, that was right. It wasn't a listener question. It was like, are the Oilers back? And he asked me that after they beat the Colorado Avalanche. What ended up being 4-2, whatever it was. And I said yes. And the reason I said yes is because it was against Vegas, the first game before Colorado too. They just put together 2 really strong defensive performances where their offense showed up in a timely manner, and then they absolutely crapped their pants against Dallas, didn't come away with 2 points against St. Louis, despite leading for 50 minutes of that hockey game, and then they do the same again the week after, get wins against Nashville and San Jose, and then don't show up against Florida. Tampa was a little bit better, but still lost, and now, again, here we are, coming to the end of a week where the Edmonton Oilers have won 2 games in a row, and now have to face the Anaheim Ducks tomorrow.
It's a scary task.
Yeah.
And solely because of the issues the Oilers have had in winning 3 straight this season. And then you couple that with the fact that it's a matinee game, 1:30 puck drop, right? So it's kind of ugly on a couple of fronts there. But, you know, Anaheim, they're a good team. They kind of give me like 2017 Oilers vibes.
I totally agree.
Where they get into the playoffs, they win a round, they get bounced in the second round, and then they end up with like 3 or 4 more years of a rebuild, and then they get back into the mix, and maybe they don't go that way, but yeah, I think that's kind of the team that we're seeing here with this Ducks club.
Yeah, it's the matinee Saturday Edmonton Oilers. I've been to an Anaheim matinee game, and the Oilers lost that game. It was actually, if I'm remembering correctly, one of Lucas Dosol's first NHL games. It was one of the first few, still in single digits. Made like 45 saves or something ridiculous. My dad and I thought, let's go to that one. We'll have a couple of drinks. We'll see them smack around Anaheim. And then they lost. But let's get into a little bit of yesterday's game. I know we touched on it briefly, but game day recaps here at Oilers Nation Everyday are brought to you by Derek Dodge Edmonton. This is the beginning of a new chapter for Derek Dodge as they are under new ownership, bringing a fresh new approach, new energy, and a renewed focus on customer experience. And right now, they have an unbeatable deal. With every vehicle purchase, you will receive a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. Yes, you heard that right. Leave the lot with your new vehicle and flights accommodations for a trip for 2 to Vegas. It's tough to beat. You can visit them at Derek Dodge, which is 104th Street Northwest, or you can visit them at derekdodge.com. We will also be joined by Tyler Yaremchuk here in probably about 7 or 8 minutes. And then Steven Ellis later on in the show, too. The Oilers did announce that they signed a new European player today, 21-year-old defenseman. I'm going to try and say his name later. Do you have any indication how to say his name? Thomas something.
I could give it a shot, but I'll probably butcher it.
Go ahead.
I'm going to guess Tomas Cibulka.
Okay. Well, Steven will know.
He'll know.
He knows
everything.
The one thing I know about Thomas Cibulka, potentially, he did play the World Juniors a couple of years ago. So I'm sure Steven's well aware of what this kid's all about. Only 21 years old. And I mean, hey, we watched Josh Szymanski last night. I thought a really solid game, and obviously a European signing. The Oilers have done a good job. Modular as well, down in the American League, has done well. The older guys, Lepinen, we'll see. Seems like he got a bit of potential. Obviously, Thomas X come back. But overall, the mark has been good for the Oilers. But just on last night's game, I think a really solid effort from Edmonton. Committed to some defense. Really, the only time, which sounds obvious, they lapsed was when Vegas scored. And when they did lapse, Vegas was able to capitalize. But let's just start from the back. I think Connor Ingram last night played a really, really good game. Again, when Vegas did get goals, they came on second chances after really good saves from Ingram. Yeah,
he was great last night. There was a lot of big saves that he had, and a lot of moments where he kind of kept the Oilers in this one all night long, right? I mean, I didn't really feel like Vegas was really dangerous last night.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you look at all 3 of their goals, and they were kind of all like weird, awkward, bouncing goals against here. You know, 897 save percentage, we'll take that. I think that might be enough for a quality start.
I would agree.
I think it's pretty close to close to above league average save percentage there. So, I mean, it was just another really good performance from him. Like, you know, you look at the 3 goals against again, and it's not like you can really fault him for any of them, right?
Well, the first one bounces. Like, he makes 2 saves, and he bounces off, I think it was Podkolzin and then Roslovic, then right to Mark Stone. Like, there's very little he could have done more of. And then what was the second one with, I think it was Mark Stone again. You could even maybe argue it could have been a penalty and the other should have been on a power play. But I think Ingram here has actually had a really decent stretch, and even on the penalty kill in overtime, like, credit to the 3 players in front of them, but Ingram was really good too, and that save he made, I think it was on Pavel Dorofeyev right at the end there. If you don't make that save, the Oilers aren't even getting a point in this game.
Absolutely. Like,
so.
It was, and in the third period, it felt like he locked it down a bit there too, right? And again, like, this is what the Oilers have been looking for a while here, right? And it's not flashy, but it's like there's this calm confidence, it feels like, with Ingram in the net that the Oilers haven't had in the crease in, you know, a very long time. Like, Mike Smith was probably the last, like, really good goalie the Oilers had. I think that you could probably say was the last really good goalie. And then, like, before that, Cam Talbot.
Yeah,
right?
Like, the rookie season of Skinner was good, but I know what you mean. Like, the inconsistency is probably still that. And there was also no expectations for Stuart Skinner to do anything that season.
Yeah.
He just had to come in and perform, and I think that's what helped him, I guess you could say.
He had to be a little bit better than Jack Campbell.
Yeah,
was,
which I mean,
which wasn't very hard to do.
Could have been
right?
a bit better than what he was doing that season.
But you know, with Cam Talbot, like, that's kind of how I always felt with him between the pipes.
Yeah.
Was like this calm, quiet confidence with him there. And that was something that I always enjoyed about his game. And I kind of feel like we're seeing that again here now with Connor Ingram.
I think, too, when you look through his game charts here, the last game he really didn't play well in. And you can look at the stats all you want, but like, probably the San Jose game.
Yeah.
When we did the Burns for Ben, like, he allowed that bad goal because he went to go get his stick, and then everything just kind of fell apart from there. And it wasn't all on him. I think defensively the team was quite atrocious that game too. But it shows a level of commitment that the Oilers have had to defensive play. There was a storyline last night, which I think would be interesting to get to. It was a very physical game, especially from like the Dickinson headshot, we can call it. He definitely got hit in the head. Yep. Whether you want to call it intentional or not, it doesn't really matter. He was hit in the head. No penalty was called. Obviously, a big scrum came from that. I think that animosity bled into the second. And then in the third period, it really quieted down. But Connor Murphy did fight Cole Smith, which was quite funny because Cole Smith clearly offered to fight him. And then Cole Smith seemed to forget that he offered him to fight and then just wasn't ready to go. But just your thoughts on Connor Murphy, that's now 2 fights in his last 3 games, Tampa Bay, yeah. A bit more of a physical presence than I expected to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of knew the ability that he had to throw the fists a little bit, but he's really stepped it up. Like, he's kind of one of those take no shit from anybody kind of defensemen out there, and that's really nice to see. You know, Paul Coffey and Chris Knoblauch are clearly leaning on him. He's playing a lot of minutes at 5-on-5 on the penalty kill. You know, I thought him and Nurse have looked pretty good together. They're going up against top competition pretty much night in and night out, I think. So I've really liked what we've seen. But yeah, like that was a weird game on that front because like I can't believe they didn't call the hit on Dickinson. Like that was as blatant of a headshot as could be.
Especially when you see the replays. Like it's almost a chicken wing. Like
it's brutal.
Yeah, right? It's a really bad one. And then for Dickinson to get back up, and I liked what he did too in his approach. Like he's like, oh, I'm not gonna get you, Lazon. I'm gonna get your star defenseman or your number 1 defenseman, whatever you want to label that. And he let him out. He laid him down pretty good there too.
He absolutely did, right? I mean, and this is what you want to see from the Edmonton Oilers here, right? It's felt like there's been this bit of a build in this physicality the last couple of weeks. You know, there's been a couple of scraps. There's been a lot of these little sort of scrums. And it was a physical, chippy game last night. Yeah. Like, it had the feel of a playoff-style hockey game. And I think that just bodes well for this team because, you know, when the Oilers get into these kind of situations, it's like a bit of a camaraderie moment too, right? Like, rally the troops. Everybody gets together. Everybody's fired up. You got Josh Szymanski going after guys left, right, and center here. You know, Keegan Kolazar throwing his mitts on the ice. That was my only issue with that scrum.
No fights.
No actual fights.
I know. I feel like there needs to be one.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
There has to be something.
Like, even with Nurse and Kolazar coming over there, like, let's dance. Yeah. You know? I mean, I think that's something that, you know, we see too much of in the NHL these days. You know, I want to see my friends at hockey fights kept busy, right? So let's get a little more scraps going.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, like, we were talking about this on the post-game show yesterday. The Oilers, I think, are a tough team. I think they're a difficult team to play against. I think they've got a lot of guys who, when they do fight, will, quite frankly, beat you up. Like Darnell Nurse, the amount of flaws he has, it's being tough certainly isn't one of them. He's not someone I would want to fight by any none of them I would want to fight. But like, I think other players don't really want to go up against him. I think Podkolzin's gaining a little bit of a reputation too. But I would have liked to have seen one in that moment. And I think the others just don't look for it, I guess you could say. They kind of wait for things to happen. So I was a bit surprised nothing occurred from it. But obviously, again, Connor Murphy did come away with the fight. Do you think there should be a fine for Lazon?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that would indicate that's going to happen.
No, I haven't seen anything yet either. But I think Jeremy Lazon needs to remember who the Edmonton Oilers have on their team. Vasily Podkolzin.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes,
because we all remember what happened last year in Podkolzin's first fight with the Oilers, where he clean clocked him and dropped him with that big one punch. So
only fight of the season for Pods, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
too.
And now what is he up to, like 2 or 3 this season?
He might even be a little bit higher than that, to be honest.
He's been very willing to drop the gloves, which is good to see.
A player Podkolzin, like, Draisaitl's obviously not in the lineup right now for the Oilers, and his absence is being felt, especially on the power play. I thought Podkolzin did a decent job yesterday. Good chance. Good save by Aiden Hill, to give him credit too. But the way Podkolzin and Savoie, they've really elevated their games here this last little stretch, especially Savoie. Like, the way he scored that goal yesterday proves why he was such a highly touted prospect when he was younger.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been really impressive. Him and Podkolzin both have been tremendous since the break. Podkolzin all of a sudden is skating like Connor McDavid out there. And Savoie, look at the offense that he's putting up here, right? I mean, 30 points on the year in 73 games played. How many of those are special teams points? Very few, right? One goal is a shorthanded goal from the Utah game, which was one of the nicer goals I've seen an Oilers player score in a long time, especially just from an effort perspective, right? Like, he misses on the first chance, but he's just a dog on the bone on that puck. And, you know, his game has really elevated here. And I also think that there's a little bit of credit due towards Chris Knobloch here as well, right? You know, when we look back a couple of years ago when the Oilers first brought him on, you know, the young guys that the Oilers had could not get ice time, right? Philip Boberg was barely playing. Dylan Holloway, in and out of the lineup, up and down, couldn't find a spot. And I think this season we've seen with guys like Podkolzin, guys like Savoie, Szymanski now, Spencer Stastny.
A little bit of Emberson too.
A little Emberson too, yeah. Like, Emberson has looked really, really good as well. Like, he's giving them roles and he's trusting them in that and asking them to stay there, right? Like Savoie, you're a bottom six player for the first half of the season.
Yeah.
You know you're going to be in there. You know the style of game you have to play there. Okay, coming out of the Olympic break, we're going to give you a look in the top six. And now he's ready to take that next step, right? And Podkolzin too. I mean, his game just continues to evolve here. Like, I think we all forget that he's still a young player.
He's only 24,
He's 24.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think on Savoie too, and we'll get to Tyler Yaremchuk right away. Not Podkolzin. Knobloch made the comment of, like, you know, you always think about the older players needing a bit of a reset when, like, the Olympics come around or an All-Star break, whatever it may be. He's like, I think I really helped him just kind of like just re-energize and get going again since the break. I think he's a point per game player, or just 1 point shy or whatever it is. But he's earned everything he's got this season. Do I have an ad for Tyler? I do not. Let's just get right out to Tyler. I know he's been waiting. Tyler Yaremchuk joining us live from Las Vegas, still by the pool. Tyler, you're looking healthy today.
You guys want me to go down the slide again?
Yeah, on the show, please.
How are you doing out there? What is the vibe check? How's the head check?
Yeah, vibe check. Last night, since I didn't have to do any shows today, I was like, it's my green light. I can just give her. And it resulted in me and our good friend Reese playing blackjack until pretty close to 4 a.m. So voice is a little raspy. Was cheering hard with a lot of Oilers fans at T-Mobile. And then after the game, you know how we kind of take over the area in front of the stadium and a lot of "Let's go Oilers" chants. So my voice isn't what it usually is. I'm feeling all right though.
It seemed like there was a good amount of Oilers fans in there last night. Is that how it was?
Yeah, I mean, Oilers fans always travel well to Vegas, like every time, and especially when they win and everyone's a little bit louder and prouder. It feels not quite like an Oilers home game. I won't go that far, but the Oilers presence is certainly noticeable. And like even before, like walking through a couple of the casinos on the Strip, like Oilers jerseys all over the place. So the fan base travels well, man. And last night, like again, just to be in front of T-Mobile Arena after that Bouchard winner, and there's just hundreds of Oilers fans everywhere. It was pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. What did you make of the Oilers' overall game yesterday? We'll get into some individuals shortly, but just a quick recap on the game.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good effort. I don't think that was, an A+ or anything like that. There were definitely some lapses, like allowing Mark Stone to get a third whack at that puck on. I think that was the first goal. Not great. Connor McDavid's turnover, and then him and Bouchard really didn't play with that much desperation trying to get back and pressure Stone on that breakaway, and that's the reason he was allowed to, again, kind of just take his time in front and make a move. So a couple of defensive lapses, but like all in all, pretty good. Like if I had to slap a grade on it, like a B, a B-, somewhere in that range, B+, like somewhere in there, like good enough. Mm-hmm. And I came away from that game, Liam, I know this was a big part of the conversation on the show yesterday. In Vegas, I saw the stat now. This is going to be the first time they've ever gone through a season with more losses than wins. And like, wow. Man, you mentioned some of those guys like Colasar and stuff. They're physical, sure. Even like a Lausanne, physical, sure. But the speed of the game, I think, is just too much for them.
Mm-hmm. I think too, even like Colton Sissons, like a guy they brought in over the summer. Like you look at those names they brought in, it's like, what did you really expect to see from them? And I mean, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because it was a couple of years ago. I think LA had a 4-0 record against Edmonton, and then we swept them or whatever ended up happening. But like, I would like to play Vegas in round 1, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm not overly scared by them. I was just going to say, I'm not overly scared by them right now. Like, even when you look at their bottom six, like you mentioned, it's a lot of the same kind of guys, like big physical guys who can't skate very well. Like, this team, like, they look really slow. That was the thing that I noticed most last night, was how slow they looked. Like, it feels like a couple of years ago, they were one of the quicker teams in the league. It doesn't feel like the case anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Edmonton, you guys talked about it or before I jumped on, but like they answered the bell physically. Edmonton's, not a team that's going to shy away from that kind of stuff, even if, like you said, Liam, they're not necessarily always going out and instigating it. I like seeing Szymanski and Dickinson kind of get into that part of the game too. So, like, yeah, if you had a playoff series against Vegas, I'd be pretty confident that over the course of 7 games, there will be 4 of them where your skill and speed is enough to shine through.
Yeah, I don't even think it'll get close to 7 games, to be honest. I just think of like last season's team, and not to be arrogant on it. Like the Edmonton Oilers were obviously different, but like Vegas's team last year feels like it was better. And even with Mitch Marner in the mix now, like I don't think it's much of a competition. I think they're benefiting from what is a terrible division. I said it, my lead today, Tyler, was that only one team in the Pacific Division has a positive goal differential, and it's the Edmonton Oilers. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, yeah, that's absolutely insane. And the other thing, too, is Vegas. Like, again, for Edmonton, for Anaheim, are they benefiting from being in a bad... Yeah, like, you could say everyone's benefiting from being in a bad division, but at least with the Oilers and Ducks, you can sit there and you're not looking at that overtime loss column. Like, what was last night? Their 15th OT loss for the Vegas Golden Knights?
Yeah.
They're scraping up loser points. That's the only reason that they're honestly still in this race. And again, if you're a Golden Knights fan, I know the numbers and the metrics have them at like 80% to make the playoffs. With how that team looks right now, they might go 500 the rest of the way, and that means LA's got to go 7-3 to jump them or something like that. Like, man, they are not a playoff lock right now.
Yeah, the LA Kings, 76 points. The Vegas Golden Knights have 79 points, and LA has a game in hand. Like, they're definitely not locked.
And LA's offense is kind of heating up here. Like, their top 6 has really been clicking. Panarin up there on the top line with Kopitar and Kempe. Second line, Byfield, Quentin Moore, Alex Laferriere. They've been doing some damage these last couple of games. Granted, they just beat up on the Canucks last night. It's the Canucks after all. But, it was a pretty big 4-2 or 4-0 win for them. 4-2-4 the Kings are in their last 10 games.
Do you want to play a quick fill in the blank with us, Tyler?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, I'll do that quickly then. Fill in the blank is brought to you by, get ready for this one, Truck Month. Don't want to forget that one. Truck Month is on right now at GMC, and if you've been waiting for the perfect time to upgrade your vehicle, this is it. Take advantage of a $6,000 cash purchase credit on the 2026 Sierra 1500 Pro Graphite Crew Cab. It's got a 2-inch factory lift with an off-road suspension and a 5.3-liter V8 engine that delivers the kind of power you actually feel when you hit the gas. Vroom. And during Truck Month, you can get into your very own. Now, this is the time to head down to the dealership and take it for a spin and see what the Sierra 1500 Pro Graphite Crew Cab can really do. There you go, Truck Month. Down at GMC. Okay, fill in the blank. Zach, I'll ask you you give me your answer for the first one, then Ty will go on to you. First question. Blank will play with Connor McDavid's wings to start the playoffs.
Okay. I'm going to stay with Vasily Podkolzin and Matt Savoie. I've really liked the way that they've looked together, and I think it could really open up some things for the other 3 lines.
Mm-hmm. Ty?
I will say Zach Hyman and Matt Savoie. I think they're going to go with a third line maybe. That's like Dickinson, Nuge, and Roslovic. And then maybe with Draisaitl, it's Podkolzin and Kapanen. And that's kind of how you go about building out your top 9, right? You put Nuge and Dickinson together with Roslovic, and that feels like a line that you can trust in the D zone. But having Roslovic there gives you depth scoring. We know Draisaitl can work well with Kapanen and Podkolzin. And then leaving Savoie up with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. I do think, again, when Draisaitl's back, they'll put Hyman back up with 97, and I do think Leon Draisaitl has enough pull and sway. He likes playing with Podkolzin. We know that that's a relationship, or the two of them have a good relationship, so I think they'll put them back together. So, yeah, my answer is Savoie and Hyman.
My answer, Draisaitl and Savoie. So I'm going to go a little crazy on that one. We'll see what happens. Second one. So the Oilers obviously they have many players who are on emergency calls right now. I think it's Szymanski, Jones, and Jarventi are the 3 currently. Hamlin was, but they obviously sent him down already. Blank will keep his spot on the roster come playoff time. Ty, if you want to go first.
Josh Szymanski will. I think we've seen over the course of the last few years, this Oilers organization and this coaching staff really values guys who are versatile, who can move from center to the wing. I think that combined with just the way Szymanski's look, this is a guy who plays mistake-free hockey. Like, you watch him play, and it's like, damn, this guy wasn't even playing in North America a year ago. Like, I just think his game is so polished, and he's given no reason for this coaching staff to lose any amount of trust in him. So, and Max Jones, again, if Freddie's back, I think Jones loses his spot to Freddie. So, yeah, I'll say it's Szymanski.
Yeah, I like Szymanski. What do you think?
I like Szymanski as well. That was the guy that I was going to go with. I'll go one step further and say that Josh Szymanski will start over Adam Henrique in the playoffs.
Oh, that is spicy. I will. This you got to think like Lazar and what's his name, Frederick, both have to come back into this forward group as well. So there's a lot of competition because I think when you think I think Jarventi's he's not really done a lot, right? He's still finding his feet. It's fine. But I think Max Jones had a real big impact on this team. And I will say he will also keep his spot. I'll think him and Szymanski might both start a playoff game just early on in the round, whoever they play, just because of his physicality and speed. I think they might want to do that. And maybe, we don't fully know what's wrong with Frederick. Maybe he missed a game or two. Just allows guys to heal up a little bit. The final one I have, Pat will need the schedule for this one. Based off him finally having a good game, Tristan Jarry will have blank more starts this season. Ty, we've done this one a bunch, but I feel like it might be changing a little bit here. Pat, once you get the schedule up, do you have an idea for that one, Zach? Jarry will have blank starts the rest of the way.
Well, first and foremost, it certainly seems like the seance might have had some impact on Tristan Jarry.
I redeem him. Completely agree.
Shocking to see. Surprised that turned out as well as it did. I'll say at least one, and it's kind of a cop-out because they have a back-to-back in April on the 7th and 8th. But I think one, maybe two more starts. Like in early April on the 2nd, they play Chicago. I could see them giving him that game. But there's just so many Pacific Division games left in this season that I think the Oilers are going to want to really lock Ingram in for those games.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Ty?
Yeah, I think you guys still got me. I might be freezing a little bit. I'll say he gets the Seattle game. We'll do the Seattle game on the Tuesday. He'll get one of the games in the last week and one more in between in April. So I think he'll get 3 of the final 9, which seems like a good kind of balance between him and Ingram.
Yeah, okay. I think he might get 4 more. I could see them at the end if they're able to lock something in here. They'll give him an extra start and just give Ingram a bit of a break. Tyler, I will let you go on this from our friend Dan Tenser. Odd but true. Since the Rasmus Anderson trade, the Flames have 9 wins. The Vegas Golden Knights have 8 wins. So there you go. That just shows the downfall of the Golden Knights right now. What's the plan for the rest of the day? You guys don't fly out till later, right?
Yeah, we don't have to leave to go to the airport till like 5. So I got a ton of time here. Probably going to get into the Bud Lights here around the pool, maybe hit the water slide a couple times. Just enjoy the sun in Las Vegas. They have blackjack tables right next to the pool over there, so you can just get right out of the pool and gamble, which is kind of lit. So I'll just explore, chill.
It's just the dampest blackjack table ever. All the cards are slightly moist, but that was good. Okay, Ty, we'll let you go. If you win anything, though, just let me know. See you later.
Yep, sounds good. I'll let you know if the pots are paying. See you, boys.
See ya. There you go. Tyler Yaremchuk. He'll be back here on, tonight. He'll be home tonight, but he'll be back on Monday. Aaron will be back for pre-gaming tomorrow, too, which is 12:30 pre-gaming start for him. Maybe he starts at 1, who knows, but probably not the game you want to come back to. You know what I mean? No. Especially after a late one.
Definitely not.
We need it. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I got an interesting stat for you. We're talking Rasmus Anderson a little bit there.
Yes.
So in 425 minutes at 5-on-5, since he has joined the Vegas Golden Knights, they have been outscored 22-13 with him on the ice.
That is not good.
-9 goal differential at 5-on-5. The rest of his underlying numbers are, okay, right around the 50% mark. But boy, an .869 save percentage with him on the ice.
Ooh. Damn. I was never like the biggest fan of Anderson. I always thought he was a good player for sure. But a little bit overhyped. Only 8 points as well for Vegas during his tenure. A little bit overhyped. Good player, don't get me wrong, but that's a guy who is at a weird little time here of like being like, I'll only go to Vegas. I'm not re-signing now. It's like, should have probably re-signed. Like, it's kind of a thing. I saw a thing the other day and it was like, did the Oilers prematurely sign Wallman? And maybe the other one was Echo, whoever it was. Maybe it was just Wallman. And it's like, but if you're the player, why would you not just sign the paper? Like,
Totally.
you don't know what's going to happen next. And Rasmus Anderson, I'm very curious to see how much money he'll actually make. And I'll be very curious also, will he stay in Vegas?
Hopefully, the Vegas Golden Knights give him a lot of money for a very, very long time.
That would be very good. Okay, let's get into a little bit of Pacific Division talk. We'll take a look around the league with the Pillow Pacific out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Oodle Noodle, many locations across the city. It's a Friday night. You probably don't want to cook. The Oilers don't play, but maybe maybe you're going to watch a movie. Order some Oodle Noodle. You can download their app. Get what you need. I'm sure there's one close to you. There's one in Sherwood Park by me. And we're on first name basis right now. They know who I am. When I come in, the guy just looks at me and he just points to the food and we're good to go. It's
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice to have.
That is good.
When you can walk into a shop and they're like, oh, hey, the usual?
again?
Yep. Yeah. Don't even have to say anything. It's nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. My fiance goes with the same order as you. Is it the
Bun Chow Gil?
Bun Chow Gil. She started trying the extra sauce as you recommended.
Yep, that is the key with it. You got to get the extra sauce. Otherwise, it's just a little bit dry on the bottom. Great dish.
It's a great dish. I mixed in a little bit too. Looking around the Pacific Division last night, we'll be joined here by Steven Ellis in about 15 minutes or so. The Oilers now in second in the Pacific Division. They were just behind Vegas going into this game, but 36 wins on the season now for Edmonton. Still more losses. Yes, they have 37 losses on the year if you want to combine overtime and just general losses. They are currently 5 points behind the Anaheim Ducks with a game. Anaheim has a game in hand, but big game on Saturday nevertheless for the Edmonton Oilers, to say the least. Vegas there as well. A couple points behind them, but as we mentioned, they're just not looking like the same Golden Knights team. You don't see them on the screen here, but the LA Kings are definitely lurking. They have now 76 points, just 1 point out of a wild card spot. Seeing Edmonton and Vegas in the first round, Edmonton and LA in the first round is not out of the possibility here.
I can't do it again.
No.
I just don't want to see it. I'm just bored of it. Like, the Oilers have just kicked their ass for, 3 years in a row now? 4 years in a row? Why?
Yeah, this might be the worst one of the bunch. But also, obviously, Kevin Fiala wouldn't be playing, still out from his injury at the Olympics. They replaced him with Panarin, good replacement. But Edmonton, I think they play LA one more time the rest of the season. So there's a lot of important games here. Only 9 games left for the Oilers. I think 6 or 7 of them are at least against Pacific Division opponents, and everything's against the West at the very least. So it's going to be a big one down the stretch. But looking at last night's scores, the Anaheim Ducks did get 2 points down in Calgary. Mikael Granlund completed his hat trick with 1 second left in the overtime period. Calgary was up 2-1 late with about 3.5 minutes or so left. Leo Carlson tied the game, sending it to overtime, and the rest is history. Granlund gets his goal, and Anaheim, they're a dangerous team. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier of just being similar to what the Oilers were in 2017. Definitely overachieving, to say the least. But they're a team that shouldn't be taken lightly if the Oilers would go up against them, because they really capitalize on mistakes. And when the Oilers have defensive lapses, they completely collapse.
Yeah, that's definitely been an issue, right? And I think one thing we've seen from the Oilers since the trade deadline, their defensive play has been a lot better.
Way better.
Really, especially at 5-on-5. Their underlying metrics have been very positive. And that's a really good trend to see here. Admittedly, looking at the out-of-town scoreboard last night, I'm so mad at the Calgary Flames. They can't do anything right. They can't win games against opponents the Edmonton Oilers need to win against. And even for their own sake, they can't lose the games that they're supposed to be losing right now. They just are so addicted to the mushy middle of barely making the playoffs or just squeaking in or just being on the outside looking in, and then ownership can be like, we'll get them next year. We'll make a deep push for the playoffs once again and then fall just short.
The Calgary Flames they're a great distance away and a lot would have to happen, but somehow only 11 points off a playoff spot. And
it's just so bad.
So bad. And the other part too, they've made the Oilers look even worse when they go out and beat Florida, and then they go and beat Tampa, two teams Edmonton couldn't beat, and then, couldn't get the win. Of course, Leo Carlson didn't score the second goal to tie the game. That would have been Mikael Granlund, since they only won 3-2. He would have obviously got the hat trick. Quick super chat here from Dayton. $10 goes to the Ben Stelz Foundation. Thank you very much, Dayton. If you have a super chat and you want us to read it, or you just want to donate to the Ben Stelz Foundation, you can leave that in the chat right now. Tomorrow is the final boss of the Oilers trap games. Let's check off the boxes. Matinee, check. Chance to win 3 games in a row, check. Playing against the Anaheim Ducks, check. Yeah, again, like Tyler, Aaron will have a full pregame show for you guys tomorrow, but we talked about it a little bit already, like we said. Anaheim, there'll be a tough test. Edmonton should have a bit of taste in their mouth after the way it went for them last time when they played Anaheim right out of the break, up 2-0 early, and just squandered it away, up 4-2 going into the third period, and somehow didn't even get a point in that game. That also, then you see them celebrate on the ice, because that was Quenneville's 1,000th win in the NHL. They need to beat Anaheim tomorrow. If they don't, I think you can kiss goodbye to whatever divisional chances you would hope for. But moving on, just continuing on in the Pacific Division in general. LA again won last night 4-0, points in 3 straight games. The Kraken beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-3 in overtime. Berkeley Canton dropped the gloves with J.J. Moser as he had I think it was Jordan Eberle he took a pretty big hit on, but Berkeley Canton, a rookie this season. I think he has as many fights as goals. I don't think he has very many goals this season, but it shows the level of play he is. A good Saskatchewan boy, to say the least.
Did you see the Tom Wilson hit on Jack McBain?
No, I did not.
Oh, pull it up on Twitter.
Okay.
Literally, Tom Wilson almost took his head off. I could not believe it. It was kind of funny. I was joking about it at HQ last. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, Tom Wilson, has left the good guy act behind.
Yeah, got on the Olympics.
Got on the Olympics, got in a fight against some French guy.
Yeah.
And now he's coming back to his old ways because, my God, he killed him.
Yeah, that was reviewed for a major, but ended up being called 2 minutes for interference. Oh, I think the turn right at the end from McBain saved this from being much worse outcome for Wilson. Did McBain leave the game?
I have no idea.
Not sure.
I just saw the clip.
Gino Hard has that one on Twitter, Pat, if you don't mind pulling that one up. That's a big hit on X. Sorry, yeah. You somehow got a Twitter cup hanging around. I'm stealing
this.
Yeah.
I found this in the dishwasher. It's coming home.
Yeah, please do. Oh, here you go. Here's the hit. Oh, he's a big hit.
God.
Damn. Yeah, keep your head up, boys. Jack McBain, good player. I remember reading something last season when the Oilers were playing Utah, and Andre Tournier, or whatever their coach is called, said he's our best player because he tries hard in practice. Well, I feel like your other players, Clayton Keller, Dylan Gunther, might be a little bit better, but nevertheless, continuing on in the Pillow Pacific, this weekend, the LA Kings return home to face the Utah Mammoth. That's on Saturday. Vegas is home to play Washington. Seattle plays Buffalo on the road. And, of course, Edmonton versus Anaheim to kick off the Pacific schedule for the day, I suppose. So all those other teams will know the fate of the Edmonton and Anaheim game once their games start. But I guess, Pat, if you don't mind pulling up the Pacific Division standings again, just we got a few minutes here until Steven joins the show. Oh, you've been adding a bunch of stuff in the chat. My bad, I did not see that. Zach, give me your prediction. How do you foresee this kind of playing out? Obviously, Colorado and Dallas locked in their spots there. There was a bit of a tighter race between Dallas and Colorado than predicted, but I still suspect Colorado will win that division and come away top of the West.
Yeah, I think so too. They've got a good lead on Dallas there right now. I don't see Dallas catching them. Minnesota, they're going to be right up there. I mean, I think the top 3 spots in the conference are locked up between those 3 teams there. The Ducks, I'm just quickly pulling up the rest of their season schedule. So they got Edmonton on Saturday. They visit Toronto, they host Toronto on Monday. Then they host they visit San Jose, St. Louis, Calgary, Nashville, San Jose, Vancouver, Minnesota, Nashville. That's not a terrible end of season schedule. They got a lot of teams in there that are not playing good hockey. I can see the Ducks winning the division, and it pains my Oilers to win the Pacific futures bet that I've had on Bet365 for a couple of months now. But I think it's going to be a little tough for the Oilers to catch them. Obviously, I'd love to see them do it here.
Yeah.
But, the thing with this Ducks team, too, like coming out of the break, they're playing extremely high event hockey.
Very.
That is the big thing for them. They are giving up a lot. They're getting a lot. They're leaning a lot on Lucas Dostal, who has been great for them.
Really good.
He's so good, right? So that could come back and bite them too, right? So we'll see what happens with those guys. Vegas, I kind of want to see the Kings catch them.
I would like that too.
I kind of do.
I think, again, and that's not even for the purpose of like, I think Edmonton has a better chance against LA or a better chance against Vegas. Like, I think they'll wipe the floor with both of them, to be honest. And I'm not even that confident Edmonton's a good team yet. I just think both those teams really aren't that good. And I think it's also quite embarrassing that Vegas might get caught by the LA Kings. The Kings shouldn't even be close to this conversation, but they somehow sold off at the deadline, got Panarin. They also got, who's the other guy? Scott Lawton.
Right.
And now, like, in the mix, like, again,
he scored last night, Lawton.
Did he get one? Yeah.
First goal of the game.
So we'll see. So what's your wild card prediction here?
Boy. I don't know, man. I'd like to see Utah make the playoffs. They've really kind of cooled off as of late, though. Nashville, I mean, they might find a way to squeak in. It feels like they've been playing good lately. Seattle, Bobby McMahon, he's been so good for them.
Really?
Oh, yeah, like 5 or 6 goals, 7-8 points in like 6 or 7 games. He's been tremendous. Should have been an Edmonton Oiler.
Should have been
an Oiler. Almost went to a couple of other teams at the trade deadline. Winnipeg, I think Winnipeg and down is out of the mix here for sure.
Yeah, I don't foresee Winnipeg doing too much at the moment. They left it too late to make their push.
San Jose's fallen off completely.
That one's too bad. I do wish they kept it close, but you want to talk about comparing teams to the Edmonton Oilers. They're the Oilers team that came out of when the lockout started the year, and then the Oilers were in a playoff spot at the deadline. That is the San Jose Sharks this year, and that's why in Edmonton they only got Jared Smithson.
Oh, I remember that. That was that season.
I think it was that year.
Yeah, because it was like the trade came in like after the dedeadline too. It was like, the Oilers are done for the day. They didn't make anything. Okay, well. Oh, no, just kidding. We traded a 4th-round pick for Jared Smithson. Who?
Yeah, he was on the Florida Panthers at the time. God. Did he even get a goal? Let's have a quick peer. Jared with 2 E's, by the way. That shows you what kind of player he was. Jared Smithson with the Edmonton Oilers played 10 games, scored 1 goal. The Edmonton Oilers did not make the playoffs that season. God, there was just so many layers to the Oilers organization where even without Connor McDavid, they've just stumbled on their own work so many times.
That trade is honestly, like, for as inconsequential as it really was to the organization, is one of the more frustrating trades that I remember the Oilers making in that stretch of time. Like, it was just such a nothing trade.
It was pointless. It was really pointless. That was also the year they had, was this the year they got Derek Roy? No, Derek Roy must have been a different year, but yeah, the Akapov, who was 31 points in 48 games, Eberle 37-48, Gagne 38-48, Taylor Hall 50 points in 45 games. Like, you had some guys who were playing decent hockey they only played 48 games that season, by the way. And your goaltending was Nikolai Habibulin, who had a 9.23 in 12 games, and Devin Dubnyk, who had a 9.21. Wow, so the Oilers' average goaltending, Yandini played a few games as well. He had an 8.81. So the average save percentage for the Oilers that season was 9.22, and their average goals against was 2.55. And the Edmonton Oilers decided to go and get Jared Smithson to help them get over the line and get back into the playoffs.
Stunning to see those save percentages.
I'd love to know the league average from that year, but still, for both those guys, 12 games for Habibulin, not a ton, obviously. And Devin Dubnyk, 38 games.
9-14 that year. I just pulled up the league average save percentage.
So they were well above average.
Yeah. I've been actually workshopping a column for the last little bit here, looking at like how goaltending is just not the same that it used to be.
There's not as many elite goalies anymore.
No, and like if you look at the league average save percentage from 10 years ago, the league average save percentage in 2015-16 was a .915 save percentage. That's the third highest of all time since they started tracking save percentages in 1955-56. That year, the league average save percentage was .919. But I think it's 7 of the top 10 years for league average save percentage were in the 2010s.
Wow.
Like that whole decade, there was just so many amazing goaltenders.
Yeah, because Brodeur would have been coming to an end in 2014, but he still had some good years.
You still had like guys like Henrik Lundqvist. Quick was still at the top of his game too.
Dubnyk obviously was coming through as well. There was someone else as well who was really solid.
Carey Price.
Yeah, that's definitely the one I was thinking of. But even like I remember like Dwayne Rollerson had like a great year as a 42-year-old with like Tampa Bay. Might have even been a bit older, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, obviously, some things have changed for goaltenders. But speaking of goaltenders, we have one on the guest line right now, and he's brought to you by Toyota Tacoma. Looking to dominate off the ice as much as your team does on it? Check out the Toyota Tacoma. The available panoramic multi-terrain view monitor gives you a live underfloor view to navigate even the toughest terrain with ease. Experience power, capability, and convenience with the Toyota Tacoma. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer during Red Tech Days, March through May. Let's bring him in, the goalie expert, Steven Ellis. Steven, how you doing?
I'm actually playing defense tonight.
Really?
I have to do this thing called running. It's not as much fun as being a goalie where you dive around and wear 4,000 pounds of equipment, never feel any pain.
Yeah, I bet it is like that. What did you make of the Oilers goaltending back when it was Dubnyk and Habibulin? Any thoughts on that duo?
I think Yan Denis should be remembered as the best Oilers goalie of all time. I don't know why that's not remembered, not talked about, or like Ty Conklin. Ty Conklin's actually.
I knew you were gonna say Ty Conklin.
Right?
When we were at the Halinka, you were hunting down some Ty Conklin merch in that Hall of Fame, and they had something, wasn't it? Was it a mask or a puck or something they had of him? I can't remember.
I was just surprised they had anything. I just thought that was hilarious. So it was definitely unique. But yeah, it's. I remember like when Dubnyk played in Hamilton for a little bit, and I remember when he went to was part of the Montreal organization. It's like, man, his career's done. Like this is it. And then he like had the greatest couple years ever, and it was so much fun to see him kind of bounce back the way he did because he was great at the World Championship, had his moments in Edmonton, and to kind of go and have the last couple seasons he had, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he really he turned it around, to say the least. But I wanted to ask you, let's just kick it off with the Oilers' youngest player on their roster, Matt Savoie, since the Olympic break, has really found his game. But a conversation that's been happening is people are questioning his finishing ability. And this came up more before his past couple of games where he had a couple of goals. But I'm curious. Obviously, you've seen this guy play a ton when he was younger as well, in junior with Winnipeg and Moose Jaw and Wenatchee. But was he ever labeled as like a goal scorer? I feel like that was never his game, and he's just able to kind of score like top junior players would at the end of the day. He's more of a playmaker, right?
Yeah, like I remember the one year he had more goals in the USHL than he had assists, but I think that might be it for like his entire career. He's always been more of a playmaker. It's more about creating those high quality chances on the rush, using his speed to try and blow by guys and make great plays. So yeah, he's never been a goal scorer, but like we're still talking about a guy who could finish at 15, 16 goals this year? Like that's not that bad for a guy that's not a big time goal scorer. Like we're probably talking about someone who, if he hits his true like top 6 potential, like maybe you're getting 25 goals out of him and you're being pretty happy because he's also probably getting you an extra 40 assists. So yeah, he's more of a playmaker than a goal scorer, and I don't think there's ever been a case to say otherwise.
Mm-hmm. The Oilers signed a new player today from Czech. I'll let Zach say his name.
Yeah, I've got a thought here on how to pronounce it. I'm going to need you to probably correct me here. But I'm going with Tomas Cibulka. Am I close?
I believe it's Cibulka. I might be wrong on that one too, but that's what I've heard. Now, he played the World Juniors a few years ago. I was surprised to see him get an NHL contract, partly because he had a deal already, I believe, to stay in Czechia. But for him to go out there and actually have the season he did was pretty incredible because he was like second among all U22 players in the Czech league in scoring. And number one was Thomas Galvas, who you might remember from the World Juniors for Czechia, and he was really good there. And to watch Jabalka, he played a ton of minutes this year. He was really good at the puck. He was also really aggressive. I felt like watching him play a couple years ago in the queue, like he didn't want to hit anybody at all. This year, it felt like he was a lot more comfortable getting aggressive and forcing guys towards the boards and doing things like that. And he's quite mobile. So kind of a guy that was really on no one's radar when he was in junior. And I remember watching him in the World Juniors and thinking like there were some moments where he'd be great and other moments you'd forget he's on the ice. And to kind of see him have this specific year, like it's the Czech league is punishing for young guys, and for a guy like him to go out there and what 21 years old and just be as effective as he did, put up as many points, like that's actually quite impressive. So he might be something. We'll see. I'm not sure what his role is going to be. It's probably something where we're talking about a year or two more in the AHL before we get a good look at him. But hey, why not?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, 21 years old, the Oilers. Who are their defensive prospects? They have Ashipon net, Bo Wakey, if you still want to label him one, Damian Carfagna. Like, the point is, very few guys. I think he's a good type to take a chance on. I know very little about him, but it seems like what you're describing that Paul Fisher is another guy someone said too. He seems to have progressed quite well. You talked to the other week when we were on, and maybe it was a little bit before that, about Josh Szymanski and how when he was in the OHL, he never thought he was going to play in the NHL. But a couple of years in Europe, and now all of a sudden he's doing really well for the Oilers. Obviously, the points haven't really come for him, but overall his game is solid. Like, what do you think it says about these European players who go to the CHL and then they just need a little bit more runway? I guess is kind of my point, right?
Like I remember watching him in the OJHL and just thinking like, he's clearly got size, but there wasn't much else. And to watch him kind of develop the way he has, like, you know, sorry, sometimes you see European players come to Canada and they don't play well because they're maybe not fully comfortable with the lifestyle and the culture. Then it's something completely different for them, right? Like I ask every year the NHL draft combine for players that have come over, like what's the biggest thing? And it's just like feeling comfortable speaking English of players, just, you know, understanding kind of just how Canadians are compared to, let's say, like Germans, where different culture, different lifestyle, different food, everything, like just smaller, like enough of those things kind of overlap, and it can be tough for a player to get comfortable. So I think when he went back to Germany, and he didn't play a ton to begin with, and he was more of just a penalty killer. Like if you watched his first year in the German league, like there's no way you would have thought this guy was playing in the NHL one day. But then he got more comfortable and opportunities started to show up, and he was able to push himself up the lineup. And then watch him last year where I, you know, just showed a lot of confidence. He also figured out how to use his size, and he also became a better skater than he was. Like that was the thing. He was a big guy who couldn't skate. And he was very productive in the German junior ranks, but like German U16 is not competitive hockey.
Right. Like,
you'll see guys like Leon Draisaitl put up a bazillion points, that type of thing, right? So it's not exactly a high level hockey, but going out there and I remember watching with the World Juniors in I think 22, and it was like you saw some obvious offensive skill, but he didn't play a ton because he was still 19 years old playing German pro hockey. And then once he got to the point where he was no longer a teenager, things kind of started to change. He was more mature. He was more confident. And once a young player finds their confidence against other competition, everything can change. So yeah, I do think that it just shows you that development's not linear. Sometimes it takes a while, and really happy to see what he's been able to do in the AHL. And I really liked him at the Olympics. I thought he had a really good tournament there.
Yeah, I thought he was solid at the Olympics too, and I think he's come back from that and played pretty well for the Oilers. He's currently on an emergency caller, but probably deserves to stay in the lineup, I would think. So another player that has really found his game, honestly, since he became an Oiler, was Vasily Podkolzin. I'm curious, from when he was drafted, what would he end up being? 10th overall pick. Like, how much have you seen his game change to what he is today? Because he's not like a huge goal scorer. He has about 15 goals at 5-on-5, but it seems like his game is adapted, I guess you could say.
So in his draft year, he played a couple games in the KHL, which at the time was pretty rare for a draft-eligible player to even get any time in the KHL, and for him to be able to, he only played a handful of games, like a handful of minutes. But the fact he was given an opportunity with SKA St. Petersburg, which has typically been not a great place for a young player to develop because they're all focusing on winning at all times, and a young guy doesn't typically help there. It felt like something where he like that was still promising. And then I remember watching the U18 level, he dominated like every tournament he played in, and he got to be on the World Junior team, which it's been a while since we've seen Russians for the World Juniors, but for the longest time they kind of had a reputation of like not taking draft eligible players, or you had to be like Alex Ovechkin good. They rarely took a prospect to a tournament like that and gave them key minutes. We saw that with Podkolzin, where he was a goal scorer. Like he was scoring like every night, it felt like, with that U18 team, and then World Juniors he didn't score, but he still produced a couple points and was pretty good. And then if like the KHL kind of really hurt his development, it's not a development league. That's the thing. Like every team's trying to make profit, every team's trying to win. So young guys just going to get filtered out. And while it's good to be in a system like Scott St. Petersburg and have some of the best coaches and some of the most exposure to high quality players, it does mean that a young guy will get phased out. And I think that really kind of pushed him back a bit. And then when he got to the NHL, played a full year in the NHL after playing less than half a KHL season where he wasn't playing a ton. Like that's a huge jump. And I feel like that just killed his confidence there. And he had to find a way to go out there and change the way he played. He had to know he was no longer going to be a goal scorer. That was not his projection. He was going to have to go out there being a hardworking forward that was difficult to contain on the rush, played with a bit of muscle and can go out there and hit guys. And we've seen him do that in Edmonton, and he's playing his best hockey right now because I feel like he's just figured out how to kind of take that role and just understand what he has to do. Like it kind of reminds me a little bit of a Valery Nichushkin, like beginning of his career where he was like expected to be this big star player. Wasn't. Had to kind of grind his way to even stay in the NHL. And then he ended up getting himself into being a very important player for the Colorado Avalanche. So I'm kind of seeing a little bit of a similar trajectory there for Podkolzin. You kind of hope that's what he does. But yeah, like he had to redefine himself a couple years ago. I'm assuming the Canucks said, like, hey, you're not going to be a goal scorer. You're not a top six player. Like you got to find another way to become an NHLer. And he's become much more energetic, much more of a grinder. And now the points are also showing up. And he is showing that he does know how to put pucks in the net.
Yeah, he's really impressed me, especially as of late here. And like even coming out of the Olympic break, he's got this like speed burst that he didn't even have before that. Like it's seemingly come out of nowhere. And I love the Nichushkin kind of comparison there for a guy who kind of had to grind his way through some tough seasons. Like, do you think we could see an even higher ceiling from Podkolzin offensively or as a player overall than what we're seeing now? Because like Leah and I were talking about it, like he's still only 24 years old. Like he's still a young player.
I would say 50 points in the next two seasons is definitely not unrealistic. And I feel like that's something you're kind of looking for because I feel like now that he's this really good support player that can also shoot the puck, I think that that's just opened up way more opportunities for him. So yeah, like it'd be interesting to kind of see how he's used going forward. But like I do think in the right situation with the right line mates and the right opportunities, like 50 points is definitely not out of the equation for him because, you know, yeah, he hasn't been a point producer since his junior days, but he still had that element of his game. He does know how to go out there and be effective with the puck. And I feel like that's something that the more comfortable he gets what he's doing, I think it could show up again.
Mm-hmm. There was someone asked in the chat, Yeg Jacob, and he just said his last name, but I'm assuming Vitaly Pinchuk. He asked if the Oilers should sign that guy. He's currently playing for Dynamo Minsk, point per game player, 31 goals in the KHL. Do you know anything about this guy, and is he even coming to North America?
Yeah, so he is the top European free agent this year, and his contract is over. I think it's May 31st. So in theory, or the end of May at least, he could come over. And watching him this year, like this is like you'll get a lot of these young guys coming out of the KHL, I guess like 24, 25, 26-year-olds that have these massive explosive seasons and then sign a deal in the NHL and it doesn't work. But Pinchuk, like you could see for a couple of years that he was pretty offensive. Like I think he was like 21 years old when he had 22 points in the KHL. Nothing crazy there, but not great, but or not amazing, but at the same time pretty solid. And then last year he almost doubled it, I believe, and then this year he like 3 times what he did 2 years ago. Like he's had this very solid progression every year. He had 31 goals, 66 points, 65 games. Like putting up a point per game in the KHL is really difficult. So for him to go do that with Dynamo Minsk and be a massive leader of that team, he's had a kind of a quiet playoff run where I believe they won a game like 8-2, and I think he had just 1 point or something like that. It's a little surprising, but either way, like for watching what he's been able to do recently, it feels like a guy who's playing with a lot of confidence and he's just going out there and just shooting the puck everywhere and it's going in. So yeah, I think he's definitely going to be signed to an NHL contract. I think he's probably a third line player, but could be a guy that's intriguing because he is 6'3", 203 pounds, plays with a lot of power, and also could score goals. So that's a guy that typically checks all the boxes of what you'd want out of a European free agent signing.
Yeah, the fact he's only 22 and putting up those numbers in the KHL is quite impressive. Bringing it a little bit closer, last question. WHL playoffs tonight. Two-part question. Part one, what will it take for the Penticton Vees to win the Western Hockey League? Part two, what are you kind of looking at here when you're evaluating prospects who are coming through the playoffs? Like, what do you need to see from them that would maybe like push them up your standings a little bit, your rankings, sir?
Well, I'll start with kind of Penticton. Like, the thing about what this matchup, they're the clear favorite over Seattle. Seattle's had to play must-win hockey for, 2 months now?
Yeah.
And they made the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if we see kind of like a 2023 Florida Panthers, like, push their way up just because they're used to playing this really meaningful hockey. That being said, there's no team I want to have to go face in the trenches in a tight game less than Penticton, because every single player could score. Every single player works their butt off, and that's kind of what they do. So I know you're probably cheering for them. That's my guess.
Yeah,
It's definitely going to be one of the more intriguing matchups. I think Kamloops versus Kelowna is going to be really good too. Really good playoff matches, and I think every team is in action tonight. It's definitely one way to start the playoffs. In terms of kind of what I'm looking for out of players, it's like we've been the Ruck twins have been the hot topic this year. They've been so good for Medicine Hat. They've been great. Now let's see what you do when you these big moments show up. And one player that kind of really proved themselves last year in the playoffs was Bryce Pickford, also a Medicine Hat, where he had a good regular season, and I know that definitely put him on some draft radars. But then he went out there and scored what was like nearly a goal almost every game in the WHL playoffs. And Montreal drafted him, and then this year he had 45 goals and is one of the most impressive defensemen in the CHL. And I think what you're looking for is just now that the pressure's on and the scouts are watching, and for some players is their last opportunity to play meaningful games until the spring, who's going to show up in these big moments? Easton Cowan is another one in London that just a couple of years ago had a good regular season and then played outstanding in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden Toronto made him a first round pick. It's a long season. It's a difficult season. And in the WHL, you're not just playing 68 games. You're going to school. You're doing all this other stuff. And you're having to focus about the draft and things like that. And for guys to go out there and dominate when the pressure's on, that's when things really start to really show up to scouts. Like, okay, this guy's capable of a lot of things.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really fun. I think all the series should be really competitive, to be honest. Even Everett, Portland, it's Portland's one of those teams that you never really want to go up against because they're just a great organization. And there was a couple of things which I think are interesting with this Medicine Hat team. One, they have more points this season than they did last season, and they obviously won the Western Hockey League. And the other side of it, too, is when everyone was so upset about all these CHL players going to the NCAA, if Lindstrom and McKenna don't go to the NCAA, do the Ruck twins have the season that they do? I think that was one thing that just really people weren't talking about. It's okay, yeah, these guys are leaving, and we get that, and that sucks for the leagues, and I understand it, but it also gives the opportunity for other players to come through and become stars. And the Ruck twins, I don't think they'll quite go as high in the draft as maybe people anticipate them to, or the hype, I guess, more around them. But there's two really, really solid players.
Yeah, it's two very exciting players who know how to play with each other very well and complement each other in different ways. You look at Liam, he's more the play driver, the goal scorer. And you look at Marcus, he's more of that hardworking guy that's chasing after pucks and setting up plays. And when those two guys work together, they're so effective. I guess the question is, what if they're not drafted together? They go to different teams. How effective are they going to be away from the line mate they've had since birth? That's the question there. But I think the fact that Medicine Hat could have had McKenna and been insanely dominant shows you it's a pretty well-run organization. They know what they're doing there. So yeah, that's a team that I would hate to go up against in the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess I'll just have to see him in the finals and see what happens there. But Steven, thanks for your time. We'll chat again soon.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.
See you later. There you go, Steven Ellis. His appearance brought to you by Prairie Toyota Dealers and their Toyota Tacoma. There you go. WHL playoffs starting tonight. I don't know if the OHL in the queue. Quite frankly, I'm not really too bothered right now. AJHL playoffs going on as well. But it's a good time to be a hockey fan. Things are getting a little bit spicy here as we get going down the stretch. Quickly, we'll move on to What's Trending, which is brought to you by the River Cree. As I pull up my ad read here really quickly, Pat, we can go down to the River Cree right now. Oh my goodness, the one I didn't have prepared. One moment, please. There we go. Musician and comedian Morgan Jay is bringing the Goofy Guy tour to Edmonton on May 23rd. That's only a couple months away. 9 p.m. show is sold out. The second show has been added until at 6 p.m. on May 23rd. Catch his wild style interactive of interactive auto tune. Tickets are going fast. Get yours at rivercreeresort.com. That's May 23rd. Must be 18 plus, and the 6 p.m. show is what is available. Get your tickets for those amazing shows at the rivercreeresort.com, or you can visit the box office. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it. Also, great pizza as well at the River Cree. If you're ever hanging around there, I would highly recommend. Quickly, let's do some What's Trending. Zach, I'm going to lean on you for this first one. Oh, sorry. We also have our Nation Draft Night coming up as well at the River Cree, which you can go check out. Be hosted by myself, Tyler, Ryder, and Lisa. You can check that out. It's $1,000 entry. Teams of up to 8. You can register now at nationdeer.ca. First question, I'll come to you, Zach. Baseball just began, but the Blue Jays start tonight. Yes.
Yes.
How are we looking this season?
I'm excited. I'm really excited for this team. They've kind of run back most of their roster and made some really interesting additions. Kazuma Okamoto signed out of Japan, playing third base for them starting tonight. Really intrigued to see him, plus power batter, a guy who's performed really well over there. I like what we can see from him. You know, the starting rotation is already dealing with some injuries, which is not great to see. Trey Savage, had such a great playoff run last year. Got a bit of a shoulder impingement right now, so he's going to be a little bit delayed. They also signed Cody Ponce, American pitcher who was playing in Korea, I believe, the last couple of years.
I think that's his.
Yeah, great strikeout stuff on that guy. Really intrigued to see what he can do. But I think they're also going to be looking for some internal growth from some guys like, Ernie Clement, seeing if he can take another step forward. And Addison Barger, I think, is one of the really interesting names to watch this year. He's a guy who kind of platooned for the Jays against righties over the last couple of years as a left-handed batter. But, we saw him kind of turn it on big time in the World Series.
Did he have a grand slam in the World Series?
He did have a grand slam at home in the World Series. And it was off a lefty pitcher, too. I can't exactly remember who it was. But, yeah, really excited for this season. I think this is a Jays team it's World Series or bust for them once again.
Did the Japanese fella...
Kazuma Okamoto.
Oh, my goodness. That guy. Is he their, direct replacement for Bo Bichette, or is that something... Is he just kind of he's a good bat?
Yeah, he's kind of your Bo Bichette replacement, I guess, right? Like, he plays third. Obviously, Bo played short over the last couple of years. The really nice thing about this Jays team is they've got a lot of guys who can play a lot of different spots. Ernie Clement, he can play third, he can play second, he can play short if he needs to. Okamoto, I think he can also play a bit of outfield as well, as third base and first base, which is great to see. So, he's kind of the Bo Bichette replacement. I don't think we'd expect the same kind of batting 300 or anything like that. Might have a little more pop in his bat than Bichette did. But yeah, I think you could kind of look at him that way.
And who do they play?
The Athletics.
Just the
Athletics.
They're not anyway.
There's nothing else. It's just the Athletics.
They're on the world tour. They're like the Savannah Bananas. A couple other things. Alex Ovechkin yesterday started his first shift in the defensive zone all season. I believe he still holds the record for the fewest. Mikhail Botka had 2 one season, which I think is just
that's hilarious. A name from the past.
Yeah.
Holy.
And just shows how bad he must have been defensively. Ovechkin is obvious why he doesn't play defensive zone. He's old and he just has an offensive game now. Botka, that would have been the prime days of his career. And yeah, he played 2 one season. Someone asked how my dog was doing. Charles was doing well. I made him some boiled chicken before I came out and threw that in the dog bowl. So She's a nice little treat before I left.
This is news to me. I didn't know you guys got a pooch.
He's just my parents' dog.
Oh,
they're back in
okay.
England. They just got back there the other day, so they asked me to look after Charles. That's why I didn't go to Vegas, because I am on dog duty. The other piece of thing is what's trending. The Kelowna Rockets get first overall in the WHL draft. The Vancouver Giants won and moved up to second. But the Kelowna Rockets also host a Memorial Cup. So their pick is from when they traded Caden Price last season. Ended up getting first overall because of it from Lethbridge. So now they have first overall and also have a chance to win the Memorial Cup this year. So what a season for their fans. I mean,
good deal.
Yeah, that's a pretty good
Holy.
deal. So it should be a good draft class this year. Matt Danoa, Parker McMillan will likely go first overall. But there you go. That's everything on what's trending for me. Anything trending for you, Zach?
No, I don't got anything right now.
All good. Okay, I think we can wrap it up, to be honest. Quick edition of the show today, or quicker edition. We're going to do Oilers Nation Radio right after this. I think another thing that's trending. Pat needed some help, needs some extra time from this morning. So I'm going to give him an extra 20 minutes to get some things done. Did you have something else?
I actually did have something else.
Okay.
Just popped into my head because I'm thinking about what I have to do after I finish up the show. So Elliot Friedman had an interesting note in his 32 Thoughts column.
Okay.
Nashville Predators, obviously in search of a new general manager to replace Barry Trotz. Would be hilarious. I would love that. But apparently they interviewed Bill Lucky Socks Scott for their vacant GM position.
Okay.
Oilers assistant GM. So that's kind of interesting to see. I don't know if he's ever had an interview anywhere for a GM opening over the years, but I thought that was kind of interesting. I can't imagine he's a guy that they actually look at hiring because he kind of has been like the Oilers capologist from the GM chair over the last number of years here.
So you probably need a bit more to do with an organization before you can take the full step, I
That's
guess?
kind of what I'm thinking. But like, I also, he's been around for a long time. I mean,
He was with the Oilers when they were the Oklahoma City Barons. He was the GM of the Barons.
Yeah, that's right. 2010-11 was his start. So he does have some GM experience. So who knows? Maybe he does get that. But
I saw Judd Moldaver was also a name that was being considered. I don't know if he ever got interviewed. But yeah, when it first came out that Barry Trotz was leaving, he was a name that was thrown out there. That would be very interesting. For people who don't know, he is Connor McDavid's agent. He is also Austin Matthews' agent, and I think he has I think he's Philip Forsberg's agent too.
He's got a couple guys.
Couple other. He's got some top players, so that would be interesting if he was to go. McDavid could potentially have his third agent in 3 years potentially.
Yeah, something.
I haven't seen his name pop up too much. Peter Chiarelli. The reason I whispered his name is because he was let go by St. Louis, and I did see a tweet that was saying like he could be in consideration. I don't get it. Like, how can you look at that guy's track record? He literally ruined the start of the Connor McDavid era. And now it's like, hey, got to give him another shot. What if he does it again?
Yeah, it's the old, they just cycle through the same general managers,
I don't get it. Like, at least, I'm not the biggest fan of Ken Holland. I think he did a lot of damage at Edmonton. He obviously took him to a cup final, did some positive stuff too. But, at least there's the recent history of, he's actually done okay. He's done some decent stuff. He's been able to manage some good players. Well, Chiarelli is you won a cup. Do not want to discredit that. It was a great, well done. You made a couple of good trades. But from that point onwards, it's been a complete collapse in his career.
Oh, yeah, it's been brutal. And I mean, even Ken Holland, saved by Artemi Panarin's desire to join the Kings.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
are we even talking about the Kings being in a playoff position if Panarin doesn't decide to go to Los Angeles? I really don't think so.
Probably not. That's a good point, actually.
Because they lost Kevin Fiala at the Olympics, right? Got his leg blown up into a billion pieces, right? I don't know about them there, but it'd be interesting to see. I like the idea of maybe some more agents becoming, general managers and kind of stepping into front office roles.
Yeah. Well, I don't know the history of general managers, of course, but I feel like recently we've seen a lot more of it happen.
Kent Hughes in Montreal.
I was going to say Kent Hughes, Jeff Jackson. He's not a GM, but he's in a big hockey role at least, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other guys too. Artemi Panarin, by the way, 18 points in 16 games since joining the LA Kings, and I would assume he's their leading goal scorer over that stretch. So.
Lance Kane with a hot take in the chat.
What did you say, Lance?
Ken Holland is a top 3 GM in Oilers history.
Well, obviously,
Glenn Sather.
He's
got to be number 1.
I mean, is he top 3 in your scenario, Lance? Because there's just been so many other bad ones.
Well, that's what I was like. That's the possibility, right? Like Kevin Lowe would be number 2 for me, right? Like I don't think any of the guys before Sather you can count on because they were WHA guys, right?
Yeah. The Oilers really didn't become a team until.
So it goes from Glenn Sather from 1980 till 2000. Kevin Lowe from 2000 to 2008. Steve Tambellini
definitely
from
not him.
13, definitely not him.
He might be last, to be fair.
Craig McTavish had his cup of coffee for a year and a half, 2 years, right? 2013-15. In McTavish's defense, he drafted Darnell Nurse and Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah, he was fine.
Those were huge additions for the Edmonton Oilers. Can't really think of much else he did besides trade for Jared Smithson. Then he had Peter Chiarelli, right? God, I don't think he's top 3.
He might be worse than Tambellini based off the era he was given.
Yeah, honestly, right? Because like the Oilers were kind of coming out of that 06 Cup run when Tambellini took over, right?
Yeah.
And then it's Ken Holland, Jeff Jackson's 1 month as the general manager. He did enough damage over then.
Could be last.
And now Stan Bowman. So yeah, he might be top 3 just because of how many not good GMs the Oilers have had.
It is crazy to think how few they've had as well.
It is.
Like how many did you list there? About 7?
6, 7 full-time guys.
Yeah,
since they joined the NHL.
Interesting.
2 interns over that time too. So technically 9, but it's 7.
Smithson was a Tambellini trade. Okay, there you go. Then maybe he might definitely be last.
Oh yeah, he would have been, I think, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Because then they must have moved on. Because I think Ralph Kruger was the head coach that year. Arguably should have got more time. The Oilers actually had a couple of coaches there. Todd Nelson being the other one, who like both deserved more than they got from the organization. Kruger and Nelson. I can't believe how few GMs they've had, considering they've had probably the most coaches in NHL history, it feels like.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Another thing for what's trending, because I got another one that I can pull out of a hat.
We got time.
If we're on the topic of remembering Oilers, ex-Edmonton Oiler Philip Larson retired from professional hockey, acquired when the Oilers traded Sean Horkoff to the Dallas Stars. So he's called it a career. Had a very long career of 901 professional games in North America and overseas. Yeah. So he had joined the Oilers. He went back to play in Russia for a couple of years. Last 4 years, he's played for his hometown team in Denmark. Last 2 as a captain. 14 goals and 81 points across 136 games over his final 4 seasons.
There you go. 36 years old. 149th overall pick for Dallas in the 2008 draft. Oilers traded him. You're right. Sean Horkoff. Curtis Hamilton was also in that deal, who is now the assistant general manager of the Kelowna Rockets.
Hey.
So he got first overall and hosting the Memorial Cup. The Oilers' 7th round pick that year, for those wondering, Ryan Lohan. Never played in the NHL.
Don't remember him.
No, me neither. But that was that. Yeah, Philip Larson. He was one of the many players that was rotated through the Oilers power plays and offensive defenseman. I think it was Corey Potter, right, who eventually grabbed a hold of that and stuck with it to an extent. He was a perfectly average player, to say the least. There you go, everyone. Pat, anything was trending? Or are we good?
No, that's. I think you guys covered it.
Yeah, I think we got most of it too. I can't believe Lance just pulled that one out. That Ken Holland is the 3rd best GM in Oilers history, purely based off circumstance and not ability. But hey, he got his act home, I guess, and they'll always give him credit for that. There you go. Thanks, Zach. Thanks for joining me today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Yeah, it's been good. Monday, usual crew. We'll record O&R right away here. But have a good weekend, everyone. Enjoy the Oilers game tomorrow. Aaron will be live for pre-gaming. Look out for it. It's probably 12:30, but sometimes they only do one for those early matinee games on a Saturday, but they'll be live for the post-game show as well. So we'll see you next time. Oil up.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Everyday, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered, from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.